Naya, are you still a stay-at-home housewife?
Hey, morning, Veronica.
Drop the pleasantries. I asked you a question. Why must you insist on not getting a job? You don't even have children yet. What's stopping you? Come on, I want answers.
Well, sure we don't, but we haven't even been married for a year yet. Neither of us are in any rush. We just want to enjoy our time together for now. And we wouldn't be able to do that if I was out working all the time. Cal says he's really happy with how things are right now.
You've been wasting my son's money ever since you two tied the knot, haven't you?
Huh? No, not at all. What makes you think that?
Because he keeps sending me less and less money. I barely get $400 a month now. It was $1,600 before you got your claws into him. Why else would my allowance have gone down so much?
Sure, our outgoings did increase when we got married, but the cost of living is going up, you know. Everyone's feeling the pressure right now.
Do you think I live under a rock, young lady? I know that. That still doesn't explain such a mammoth decrease. I know that this is your doing. I've tried asking Kyle for an explanation more times than I can remember, but all he ever says is, that's the best I can do. Talking to that boy's like drawing blood from a stone. He barely responds to my messages at all these days.
He's a busy man.
I can't get by on $400 a month, and it is not acceptable to hang your mother out to dry like this, young man. Be a darling and pass that along to Kyle for me. He'll listen to you. I have a right to any money you don't spend.
Veronica, me and Kyle are husband and wife. It's very important that we're able to save money for the future. We're not trying to make things difficult for you, but we have circumstances of our own to deal with. $400 a month really is the best we can do.
You've got some nerve to speak like you have custodial rights over my money, you impertinent little thief. I knew it was your fault my allowance took a hit. Always trust your gut.
No, actually, Kyle's the one who decides on the amount.
But you would say that, wouldn't you? You act like you're some innocent third party, but I know you're the puppet master pulling the strings behind the scenes. You want my son's hard-earned money all to yourself, don't you? You do well to remember you're nothing but a stay-at-home housewife. You hit the jackpot when you married my Kyle. Look at the house you get to live in, for crying out loud. You lead a privileged existence. I know he has more than enough left over to look after his poor aged mother. What do you even need money for? My son pays all the bills and takes care of you completely. Not like me. I live all on my own. I'm lost without that money.
Like I told you, saving is important to us. We might not have kids now, but we hope to one day. And how much we save right now will make a huge impact on how things go when the day comes. Anything that doesn't go on necessary living expenses goes straight into a savings account. We're definitely not wasting it like you seem to think.
But you would say that, I wonder. You know, I'd never known anyone as lucky as you. A low IQ high school dropout whose highest professional achievement is flipping burgers at Peep Donald's. Bagging herself an elite top earner on a six-figure salary. That kind of thing just doesn't happen. Talk about rags to riches. You may not be a poverty-stricken loser anymore, but you probably still have a poverty mindset, which means it's dangerous for you to have access to my son's wallet. I bet you're getting carried away with your newfound riches and blowing my son's money on frivolous junk.
Actually, we live on a tight budget while putting as much as possible into a savings account every month. I haven't wasted a cent of Kyle's money, I swear.
In that case, why has my monthly allowance shrunk to virtually nothing? I I didn't want to have to say this, but you forced my hand. The only reason Kyle landed a job at such a major company is because I paid for him to go to a top university. Nothing happens without a cause, and the cause of my son's success is me.
I don't deny it. I'm sure he owes you a lot. But that doesn't discount his own persistence and hard work.
The only reason he knew how to work hard in the first place is because I taught him to. I hope you're not forgetting that I still haven't acknowledged you as my son's wife, or as a member of this family, Naya. The only reason I went along with the marriage in the first place is because he stubbornly insisted you were the only woman he wanted. But believe me, I wasn't happy about it. You do well to remember that.
Yes, I remember. That's why I'm doing my best to win your approval.
Doing your best? You could have fooled me. I can only conclude you're actually trying to make me hate you after having my monthly allowance reduced like this.
I'm doing my best to win your approval by supporting Kyle. That's my job as his wife.
It may be one of them, but I can assure you you have more responsibilities than that, young lady. You don't just have duties to him, but to this family as a whole. That means you're to discuss the matter of my shrinking allowance with him ASAP. If you don't, I'll see to it that he starts thinking about divorcing you. I mean it. I just checked this month's bank statement to see how much allowance I got. You know what I'm about to say, don't you?
That you got the same as last month?
So you do know then. You better have a good reason for not doing what I told you. Did you forget about that little chat we had last month?
Not at all. I just want you to understand that we have our own circumstances and our own lives to lead.
So my circumstances and my life mean nothing to you.
That's not what I meant. Don't you have a retirement fund? Not only that, but surely you have some of your husband's inheritance left over.
My husband's inheritance? Pfft, don't make me laugh. He barely left me anything. Why do you think I was so reliant on the money Kyle was sending? How am I supposed to live on a third of the original amount? My quality of life's in the dumps because of you.
There's no way you should be struggling this much. I can only assume you must have been overspending back when he was sending you more. Hal told me the other day how you used to go on vacation every month. I don't mean any disrespect when I ask this, but surely that's a little excessive for an elderly widow with very little income of her own?
Are you bringing my spending habits into question? How dare you? What's wrong with letting my hair down by going vacation once a month? Would you really see one of my few joys in life stolen away from me? You're heartless.
You own your house, so it's not like you have to shell out crazy amounts on rent or anything. I'm pretty sure you could still manage a vacation once every few months if you tighten your belt and only spent money on necessities. Veronica, will you please reevaluate your spending habits?
I'm telling you this precisely because I still don't have enough, despite only spending on necessities, numbskull. Ugh, I'm not sure there's even any point in talking to you. I've had more productive conversations with brick walls. By hook or by crook, I will get my money. If you refuse to increase my allowance, then you can see to it that I get my money by finding a job. You make a big song and dance about how supporting Kyle is so important to you. But it doesn't look like you're supporting him at all from where I'm standing.
How about you get a job, Veronica? Surely part-time work wouldn't be too difficult. You're still in excellent health, and you're clearly still full of energy if you're well enough to go on vacation all the time.
Good grief. You'd see your elderly mother-in-law out pushing trolleys at some supermarket surrounded by brain-dead morons. You horrify me. I do not take orders from ex-burger-flipping gold diggers. You won't get away with this.
What does the fact I used to flip burgers have to do with your inability to live within your means?
I've had it with you. I'll talk to my son instead. Why am I even wasting my time talking to such a sponging parasite?
Feel free to try, but he told me he had no interest in discussing the allowance with you. Why do you think he brushes you off every time you pester him about it?
Irrelevant. I'm not satisfied with what you're telling me. And that's that. I'll force the issue if I have to. I'll be paying you two a visit on his next day off.
Do what you like, but we won't be able to let you in.
You think that's going to stop me? See to it that you have the remaining $1,200 ready when I come. I won't go home until I have it. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. Naya, are you there? Is it true you moved away? Kyle said you don't live on Granville Street anymore. I knocked 1,000,000 times, but no one answered. And I couldn't see any signs of life through the windows either.
Kyle burst out laughing when you told him you were actually outside the house.
You think this is funny? I made it very clear I'd be paying you a visit.
And I made it very clear we wouldn't be able to let you in. Did you think I was lying?
I just found out something even worse. Why did my son reduce my monthly allowance to $100? He's an elite top earner with a wallet fatter than the average American. This is all because you won't stop wasting his money, isn't it? Ugh, you will pay for this.
Hey, Veronica, guess what? I have something else to tell you. Your son makes $500 a month. He's not as elite as you seem to think.
Excuse me? What are you talking about? He's an elite top earner at a major company. Like Hallie makes $500 a month.
He quit his job as soon as we got married.
Who quits their job when they get married? That doesn't make sense. How have you been getting by all this time? The rent on your house alone is over $1,300.
I help out with the finances.
Don't screw me around, Naya. I'm trying to have a serious conversation with you here. How could a jobless ex-burger flipper possibly help out with the finances? Aha! I get it. You must have been working in the service industry to supplement his income. I always had you down as the type.
Wrong. I freelance from home. The only reason I was flipping burgers at Pete Donald's when we met was because my friend asked me to cover some shifts for a coworker who was off sick. My main work has always been freelancing online.
Bull crap. I don't believe you for 1 second. Why would my son throw away a high-earning job at a major company? And to do what? Be a stay-at-home husband? Your pack of lies falls apart at the first hurdle. Besides, he never told me any of this.
That's because he was afraid of what you'd say. You stressed him out.
Huh? I do what now?
Every time you don't approve of something he does, you bombard him with complaints so hard, he feels like blocking you. He quit his job because he was struggling mentally. That's why I've been the only one talking to you recently. After discussing it, we decided the mental burden of engaging in conversation with you just wasn't justifiable given where he's at right now.
Speaking to me is a mental burden? I'm his mother, for heaven's sake. I'm the one who raised him into the elite, highly accomplished man he is. He owes me a debt of gratitude.
And you made sure you never let him forget about that alleged debt of gratitude, didn't you? You used it as an excuse to extract as much money as possible out of him, regardless of how he felt about it. Kyle got into that elite university because he studied diligently and worked hard. And he landed his job at that major company for the same reason. He went to a normal public high school, He covered his tuition fees through a scholarship and part-time work at a shoe factory. At what point do you come into the equation? Despite having almost nothing to do with his success, you take credit for his achievements as if they were your own.
The only reason that boy is one of life's winners is because of me.
The fact you view life in terms of winners and losers is pretty repulsive, to be honest with you, Veronica. Maybe Kyle looks like a winner to you. But mentally, he's a wreck. And he went through hell at that company you seem to think is so amazing. He's a million times happier, working part-time and helping out around the house.
My son works part-time?
Yep, that's why he makes $500 a month. You were getting $400 of that, while he was only keeping $100 before he slashed your cut again. See? The numbers add up.
Oh my God. My son, my own flesh and blood, only makes a proxy $500 a month. This better be some kind of joke.
I've never told you a joke in my life. You don't strike me as the type to know how to take one.
I don't believe any of it, that you pay the bills by working on the internet. I don't believe my son quit his prestigious job to work part-time. And I don't believe he's going through a mental health crisis. I don't believe a single word. To think you cook up such a preposterous pack of lies just to trick me into accepting my allowance being cut. You truly sicken me, Naya.
All I did was tell you the truth. Kyle's doing a lot better lately. We were going to tell you everything when he felt up to it.
You're disturbed if you think it's normal to lie about things like this. I suggest you get the hell away from my son and go see a shrink. Let me speak to him.
You're messaging my number.
Don't get clever with me, girl. You know what I damn well mean. Arrange a meeting.
Veronica, I'm not sure how you don't get it yet, but we're done with you. You won't see me or Kyle ever again.
What?
The remaining $100 of your allowance will be getting cut starting next month. So, I suggest make what you have last. Something tells me it's gonna be a while before you go on holiday again. We're done helping you. We decided on this together after a long discussion, and Kyle's mind is made up. Let him go.
Do you seriously think you can cut off my allowance and there won't be any consequences? You won't get your way, mark my words. I want my son back. Make your preparations for the divorce, and I want a groveling apology while you're at it. Hey, Naya. Are you there, sweetie? I know you're probably busy, but I'd really appreciate if you could reply to me. Please. I need to talk to you. Even if this is the last time we ever speak, there's something I need to tell you.
What do you want?
Phew, thank God for that. I was worried I wouldn't be able to get through to you because my messages don't seem to be reaching Kyle anymore. Thank you so much for replying, sweetie.
I'll be changing my number soon too, so you better make it quick.
Surely there's no need for that. I won't be able to speak to you anymore.
Exactly. We don't want anything to do with you. Anyway, what did you want to tell me? Get to it. I don't have all day.
Naya, I'm so sorry for everything. I messaged you today because I wanted to apologize.
What's gotten into you? Did you eat some mushrooms from the yard or something? You seem like a different person than yesterday.
I just called my son's company. They told me all about how he quit a few months back. It was just like you said.
Yep.
I finally know you were telling the truth now. Everything I said before, I said not knowing you were supporting my poor son through such a difficult time. I said some horrible, horrible things, and I regret it all from the bottom of my heart. I'm so sorry, sweetie.
I don't need your apology. Doesn't change anything. I'd rather you focus on becoming a decent human being and stopped bugging me.
Please don't be so cold, Naya. There was something else I was hoping to discuss with you. It's about my allowance. Did you really mean it when you said I wouldn't be getting any more money after next month?
Yep.
Won't you please reconsider? I said I'm sorry, and I genuinely feel bad for everything I said to you. Even returning to the $400 arrangement would be fine with me, sweetie. I've done some calculations, and I think I could just about get by on that.
Are you really sorry? Why can't you get by on your retirement fund like everyone else your age?
Listen, Naya, I never told you this, but I went into debt. That's why my retirement fund alone isn't enough to get by on anymore.
Well, even though you had your husband's inheritance. It's funny, you always accused me of being frivolous and wasteful. But turns out, you're the one throwing money down the drain all along.
You're right. I'm begging you. Please just keep sending my allowance for 3 more years.
If you only need $400 a month, I'm sure you could get by with a part-time job. You'd probably even have spending money left over.
I haven't been so steady on my feet lately. Even just going to the store and back feels like a challenge.
Didn't you go all the way out to our old house yesterday?
I got a taxi.
And how much did that cost you? It's precisely because you do stupid crap like that you have no money left.
Oh, please, that was a one-off. I hardly ever use taxis. I'll reduce my spending from now on, I swear. Please, I'm begging you, just don't stop sending that money.
Kyle already sent you way more money than you deserve. We sent you so much for so long that we barely ever got to put aside anything for ourselves or our future.
But his salary must have been enormous before he quit his job. My boy was an elite top earner after all.
Just because he used to work for a major company doesn't mean he's rich. He was just a regular office worker. Something tells me he didn't make even nearly as much money as you think he did. Besides, he gave you money outside of the monthly allowance sometimes, didn't he? You had more than your fair share of the fruits of his hard work. It's time you stood on your 2 feet for a change.
I want to apologize to him properly.
He doesn't want to see you or speak to you ever again, so you can keep your apology. Want to know what me and Kyle want more than anything in the world right now? For you to disappear.
Oh my God, Naya, don't be so cruel. I'm your mother-in-law, and I'm begging you. Please just give me one more chance. I swear I won't let you down.
Sorry, you already used up all your chances. You're lucky he kept sending you money for so long despite your despicable attitude. I told you countless times to reevaluate your spending and figure out how to get by on your own. Anyone could have seen this coming. Well, anyone except you, apparently.
I told you, the only reason I was like that is because I thought you were wasting his money. I should have listened.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. You called me a parasite, didn't you?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. Everything I said, everything I did, all the pain and suffering it must have caused you both. I'm not exaggerating when I say this is probably the most sorry a human being has ever been. Please, won't you believe me? I'll never do anything like that again. Please don't cut off my allowance, even if you just keep it going for a little while longer. I'm begging you.
Too little too late, Veronica. You're the biggest parasite there is. I hope you spend the rest of your life in soul-crushing isolation tormented by the pain of guilt and regret over how you treated me and your son. At least you'll have plenty of time to think about your behavior now. The problem with parasites is that they keep coming back, unless you get rid of them completely. Which means I have to block you now. See ya! As promised, I blocked my mother-in-law immediately. And me and Kyle never spoke to her again. I also changed my number, just to be safe. A new SIM card was a small price to pay for removing the mother-in-law from hell from my life. It's almost difficult to express the overwhelming sense of relief we felt when we finally cut her off. Kyle was tormented for years by the manipulative, controlling behavior of his mother. He was raised being constantly told that he'd never be good enough unless he landed a well-paying job at a major company. I guess you could say it worked if your only standards for success in life is being viewed as successfully by others. But at what cost? Was it really worth all of the suffering and hardship he went through? Success is an abstract concept that means something different to everyone. One man's idea of success is another's idea of hell. Kyle had to break things off with his mom for a long time. But he found it difficult to break free of the psychological stranglehold she'd had him trapped in since he was a little kid. He told me the counseling sessions he received to heal his wounded psyche after being overwhelmed by the stresses of work were the trigger that led to him finally mustering up the courage to do what he needed to do. He said it felt like a weight had been lifted off his shoulders when we finally washed our hands of her. Freedom at last! I get the feeling Veronica's in for a world of financial hardship from here on out. But that's 100% her fault, and I don't feel an ounce of sympathy for her. Even if she showed up pleading for help, emaciated, dressed in rags, and crying floods of tears on our doorstep, I still wouldn't give her the leftovers for my dinner. You might think that sounds harsh, but there are some things you just don't forget. Thankfully, we moved as far as possible to ensure that kind of thing would never happen. She doesn't have a hope in hell's chance of tracking us down. Kyle quit his part-time job when we moved, and he currently contributes by helping me out with my freelance work and doing things around the house. I couldn't be happier to see him back to his old self. I was genuinely worried back when he quit his job due to stress. He was a shadow of his former self, and even housework seemed like it might send him over the edge. I'm gonna carry on caring for and supporting him, just like he does me. And we're both gonna give it our all to build a happy home, full of love and warmth. Here's to our future!